Hi, this is Joy from Stack Overflow. In the 2022 Developer Survey, we asked professional developers to tell us about what impacts their productivity at work, how often it happens, and the time it takes out of their day. For somebody who is encountering a knowledge silo or searching for a solution to a problem that they've come across, the productivity impact that they feel is very real, but it's invisible to their managers and to the company at large. And it's invisible because it's hard to quantify. How can you quantify something like not knowing where to go to find a solution or not knowing who to ask when you have a problem? It's hard to quantify because you cannot measure it directly. Instead, you need to ask. And so we asked. 35,000 developers told us about their experiences. Their responses help the developer community at large understand and quantify the impacts that folks have from these daily and invisible productivity frictions that they come across. For example, if 50% of the 35,000 developers that we spoke to said that they were encountering a knowledge silo at least once a week, it's statistically likely that a similar percentage of developers within your organization or on your team are experiencing something similar. With that in mind, we've made it easier for you to estimate the number of folks on your team or within your organization who could be experiencing these productivity frictions. And we do this in 3 different ways. First, we've provided 3 different estimation calculators for you that allow you to look and quantify at the number of people who could be experiencing this on your team. And it gives you different granularity levels to dig into. I'll go over those in a moment. The next thing we've done is we've provided you with various data cuts of the 35,000 developer responses that we have, so that when you're looking and using the estimation calculators, you can use data that most closely resembles your team's composition. So we provide data cuts based on country, years of experience, the work environment, whether it's hybrid, remote, or on-site, whether they're an independent contributor, people manager, even the size of the organization that they work for. And finally, we've provided you with the survey questions themselves, so you can ask your developers themselves to tell you what they're experiencing. Then you can take those responses and use the estimation calculators that we provide to understand and quantify the number of people within your organization that are experiencing that. Now with that, I'll take you through the estimation calculators. The high-level estimation calculator that gives you just the numbers of developers that are being impacted based on the survey results that we see. The simple estimation calculator takes this one level further and asks you to provide the average hourly salary for a developer within your organization. And it does this so we can give you an estimate of the cost impact for the hours that are being lost when folks are searching for information or answering questions from their colleagues. The final calculator is the multiple groups calculator. And here, this is where you can compare the different productivity impacts based by different developer groups within your organization. For the example that we're providing today, we're going to look at it based on years of experience. So you're going to see the different productivity impacts based on the years of experience. And then you're also going to be able to provide the average hourly salary for that as well, so that you can understand the cost impacts for those, again, for the folks that are spending time searching for information, as well as answering questions from their colleagues. We also provided you a number of different data cuts, and here's where you can find those. You'll see that we provide a significant number of different slices and dices of the data. We have it based on all respondents, and then we look at it based on different country levels. You'll see as we start to get further down in the countries is we provide fewer tables and data tables for you. This is because the sample size gets smaller, and we didn't feel that that was going to be statistically significant or statistically stable enough in order for you to use it as the calculator. So we've elected not to provide you with those data tables. Then we also provide you the survey questions. Here you can take them and put them right into a Google form, or you can put it into the survey platform of your choice. All right, let's take a look at the high-level estimation calculator. With this, the only thing you have to do is enter in the number of developers within your organization. Everything then is calculated from that number. You can also see that here we've got hidden cells that are the reference cells for each of the formulas. And if you click into each of these cells, you can see what data point it's referencing here. So the first thing we look at is folks' ability to find information and knowledge across the organization. And here we're looking at how, if they feel confident, they're able to find the information, how quickly they're able to find the information, even knowing what source to look for. We also ask about encountering knowledge silos, waiting for answers, or finding themselves answering questions over and over again from their colleagues. The next thing we look at is how often they encounter knowledge silos. And knowledge silos is where one information or team has knowledge that's stuck in that team or in a single person's brain, and you can't get access to it. So we ask folks to tell us how often do they experience this on a weekly basis. So here it's split out by the number of times they experience it per week. And then we roll this up for you based on the number of folks that experience it or say that they experience it at least once a week. The next thing we dig into is how often or how long people spend searching for answers or solutions on a daily basis. So again, we're looking at it by minutes each day about how often they're searching for answers or solutions. Then we roll that up into folks that are spending less than an hour a day and more than an hour a day. Then we go one step further and we calculate the hours lost per week, per work week, based on the low end of the estimate and the high end of the estimate. Again, bucketing it into folks who spend less than an hour searching and folks who spend more than an hour searching. We do something similar when we're talking about answering questions. So we ask folks how much time they spend answering questions from their colleagues on a daily basis. So again, we roll this up into folks who spend less than an hour and folks who spend more than an hour, and then give you the high level and low level estimates of the hours lost per week based on folks who are doing that activity. When it comes to the simple estimation calculator, here you're entering the number of developers again, but this is where you also enter in the average salary. Now, what this does is for the first two items, the ability to find knowledge and information and encountering knowledge silos, the calculations are the same. And we've got hidden columns and rows that are the reference cells, similar to what you saw on the high-level estimation calculator. Where the salary comes into play is when we look at the time spent searching for answers and solutions and the time spent answering questions. Instead of looking at the hours lost per week, we take the hours lost per week and we multiply that by the average developer salary that you told us. That will give you a cost impact for the hours spent searching for information or answering questions. And again, you can see that we've got reference cells, so you can see the data that we're using in order to calculate this. And all of this, again, comes from those data tables that we have referenced in the other parts of this, in the other part of this file. The multiple groups estimation calculator is probably one of my favorites because it takes you one level down and really shows you the different experiences that developers have. For in this case, we're using it based on the years of professional experience. So how the folks who have less than 5 years experience are different than the folks who have more than 16 years of experience. And it does differ, which is one of the wonderful things. I love this. And it's fascinating to see how much it does differ between the two groups. Again, like the other calculators, you're entering in the number of developers that fall within each of those buckets within your organization, and you're providing, again, the average hourly salary for us. Calculator is the same as we talked about with the high level and simple estimation calculators. And again, when you're looking at the time spent searching for answers or solutions, we're providing you the high level and low level estimates for each of those, the cost estimates for each of those different groups of developers. You can see the reference cells by expanding the columns over here. And what's nice is you can then take this calculator, and if you wanted to look at the difference between independent contributors and managers, you can do that as well, simply by plugging in that information into these reference cells from the data tables that we've provided. In the README tab, we have an email address. So if you have questions about the calculations, if you want to go over these and make sure that you understand what it's telling you, we're here to help. So just go ahead and reach out to us on that email address, and we'll get back to you and set up a time to chat. Thank you so much for your time. We hope this is helpful for you.